Hey, good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome to our January 2025 Learn to Grow Repeat. I am Annie Brock, President and CEO of the Leader Transition Institute. Today, our goal is to empower you with the knowledge and tools you need to navigate the complexities of VA claims. Whether you are new to the VA claims process or looking for ways to enhance your understanding, I hope you'll find valuable insights and practical advice, and I encourage you to engage and ask questions in the comments. We're honored today to have Sommer Jones, the Legal Administration Specialist Outreach Coordinator for the Baltimore Regional VA Office, as our speaker. Sommer has been with the VA for 5 years, and she is a veteran of the U.S. Air Force. We're also fortunate to have Rashima Smiley, the Washington, D.C. Outreach Coordinator, with us today. You won't see her. She's working behind the scenes. You'll see her in the chat. She's going to monitor the comments and questions, so please make sure to ask your questions. Sommer, welcome to this time together. Just let me know when you're ready for me to throw the slides up, and I will do that.
Yes, I am ready.
Okay.
Hey, hello, and thank you all for joining me today. I am Sommer with the Veterans Benefits Administration. I am excited for today's presentation to help you all have a better understanding of how to file a claim effectively. Please be sure to take notes and hold off on questions until the end of the presentation, but you can also ask some questions in the chat because we do have Rashima on board to help out with that. All right, next slide, please, Annie. So I like to show our mission statement. We want to show you all that we really do care about our veterans. So we do have our VA mission statement, our vision statement. You can go ahead and take a look at that if you for a couple of minutes or a minute or so. And we also have the VA core values. Next slide. The VA core values, which is I care, integrity, commitment, advocacy, respect, and excellence. So that's what we try to do when we're filing claims, processing claims, assisting veterans, whether over the phone, in person. We just want to make sure you all feel acknowledged and heard. Next slide, please. So let's get to the great stuff. How to file a claim. So let's see how to apply. So if you need assistance with filing claims, please choose the assistance of a veteran service officer. If you're very new to the whole process, they can help relieve any type of anxiety or any type of issues you might have, because it can be pretty stressful for a lot of veterans to get the process started. But when you have somebody, an advocate for you on board, it's always it makes the experience a lot easier. So there are numerous options you can find by searching on www.va.gov or your preferred search engine. My preferred search engine is Google, so I Google everything. So va.gov does provide a list of VSOs, accredited attorneys, claims agents, and some examples of veteran service organizations are DAV, Disabled American Veterans, American Legion, and here in the state of Maryland, where I am, is the Maryland Department of Veterans Affairs. Next slide, please. Program review, disability compensation. So I'm just going to go over some pieces of the slide, not the whole slide. So disability compensation is a tax-free monthly benefit paid to veterans who are disabled by an injury or disease that was incurred in or aggravated by active military service. It's also important to know that VBA can award disability compensation for both physical injuries and psychological issues. In addition to having a disability that is service-connected, the veteran must also receive a discharge other than dishonorable from service to be eligible. Just one note, the VA has expanded veterans' access to benefits. So even with a other than honorable discharge, definitely look into applying for disability, because there's a way to work around that so that you are acknowledged for your service and things that happened to you while you were in. There are multiple factors that determine the benefit amount that a veteran will receive. These factors include the degree of disability, which is rated between 0% to 100%, how many dependents the veteran has, and whether the veteran has suffered the loss or loss of use of specific organs or extremities. Next slide, please. Types of disability compensation claims. There's the original claim, which is your very first VA claim. New claim, which is a condition that you never applied for in the past. Increased claims, which expands on a claim on a condition or claim that you are already service connected for. Secondary claim, these are claims for disabilities that developed as a result of or were worsened by another service connected condition. So an example, if you're service connected for your right knee and your left knee is worsened due to you having to use that knee a lot more due to your weakened right knee, you can apply for a secondary condition. So how would that look? It would say left knee secondary to right knee condition. Also, individual unemployability. If you cannot hold down a steady job and you're rated between 60% and 90% or even less, you can apply for individual unemployability and you can receive a pay increase at 100%. You'll have all the benefits of a veteran who is 100% permanent in total, to include health care for your family and education assistance for your family. But your scheduler rating will remain at 100, at the rating where it is. So a lot of veterans are 60%, but they're paid at the 100% rate, for example.
Next that's slide. Interesting.
Yes.
I didn't know that would be a possibility.
Oh, yes. So you have to apply for that, and the VA verifies your past employment is within the last 5 years. So yes, that's a great one. Next, requesting records. So I've received a lot of questions about this recently, so I'm so happy to go over this. The VA will request all your military medical records and all of your personnel records. There is no need to upload or submit your records to the VA unless you are requested to. And if your records are available on your file and you like to have access to them, you must make a Privacy Act request. So there's a difference between the Freedom of Information Act request and the Privacy Act request. So we call it for short FOIA. So a FOIA request is if you're requesting a record other than yours, and a Privacy Act request is you requesting your own records. You can also request your military medical records and personnel records by filling out an SF-180, but a quicker way to do it is by using www.archives.gov. You can make a request right online for it, and they can either email it to you or mail it to your address. Next slide, please. Types of evidence. All private medical records related to the claim condition, like reports from your own doctor or x-rays or other test results from a non-VA hospital or treatment center. Any records of private medical treatment you've received for the claim condition while serving in the military. So sometimes people, they don't always use the military clinics. They receive treatment off base. So if that pertains to you, then you can go ahead and request those records. But again, the VA will request all of your military medical records. And we can also request your VA medical records on your behalf. But also, I love to tell veterans about the fantastic blue button feature on My Healthy Vet. So you have access to all of your VA healthcare records whenever you want it. So you have access to your test results, any notes by your clinician or your psychiatrist or whomever your specialty care physician is. You have access to all of that. But just know you do not have to upload that, because the VA, throughout the duration of your claim, they make requests for that. We use a system called Capri. And if you think your service records does not include a description of your disability, I love to tell veterans that they have the option to submit letters from their family members, friends, clergy members, law enforcement personnel, or those you serve with, so they can paint a picture about your condition. So basically, we want to know how your condition affects your everyday life, how you were before and how you are after and during this whole process. So that's some things to think about when you're requesting a buddy statement. Um, Also, please note, in 1973, at the National Personnel Records Center in St. Louis, there was a fire that destroyed many Army and Air Force personnel records. We will collect your personnel and service treatment records. On the rare case that we're not able to retrieve your records, the VA will request that you submit anything that you possibly have that can help the VA go ahead and request your exam. So we need your records in order to start the exam request process. So just want to make sure you're aware of that. Do not upload unless you're asked to. You don't want your records to be overloaded. Next slide, please. Okay, more information about evidence. So for temporary 100%, so that means that you either had surgery or you're in a cast. So you just need information from your doctor of how long you will be on bed rest or how long you will be in the cast, and the VA will pay you for that amount of time. But just know this is not like a push button type of deal. You do have to, it's like a regular claim process. It could take several months to complete. So just know that you'll get a retroactive payment. So it's not a instant benefit. Unfortunately, a lot of veterans do believe that. The ones that call in or come into our office. Presumptive conditions. For evidence for that, you have to meet the eligibility time frame, and please ensure that you are diagnosed with the condition, because a lot of times veterans are denied because that tricky little diagnosis issue. Also, Guard and Reserve members, please ensure to include all of your DD 214s, line of duty statements, medical evidence from your private provider directly or by authorizing the VA to request your records on your behalf. So in this slide or in a previous slide, there is a form, VA form 21-4142 and 4142A, that gives the VA authorization to request your records on your behalf. But I like to tell veterans to go ahead and do that when you file your claim, so that it's no waiting period, because you're at the convenience of the VA and your private doctor. Or if you do that, please let your office know that you are filing a claim with the VA, and that they will contact them within the next couple weeks, so that they'll have it ready, hopefully, and they can send that to us right away. Also, I just wanted to add, if you are married and or you have children, please fill out the 21-686C. And if you have a child over the age of 18, please ensure that they fill out the 21-674. That way, if you do it while your claim is in process, you may not have to wait as long as many of us do when we file the dependency claims. Next slide, please. All right, PACT Act. Honoring our promise to address comprehensive toxic acts of 2022. So the PACT Act, which expands the locations associated with radiation exposure, presumptive conditions associated with herbicide exposure, amends the statute involving Persian Gulf veterans, establishes presumptive conditions associated with toxic exposures, and triggers changes to examination requirements when there is toxic exposure activity. So the VA has implemented so many different systems to verify the toxic exposures in certain areas, just to quickly identify that, so we can go ahead and make sure that you are acknowledged for that service. Next slide, please. Thank you. Exposure to hazardous chemicals and materials. So the qualifying presumptive periods for in-service dates. For Agent Orange, the Vietnam era is January 9th, 1962 through May 7th, 1975. This includes Vietnam, and if you were aboard ships operating inland waterways in Vietnam. So Agent Orange exposure, it also includes It also includes different, if you were on a ship or even an aircraft that had that was transporting Agent Orange, I've seen veterans receive service connection for that as well. So always try everything that you can. Asbestos. So if you had contact with asbestos and you can file a claim. So please do not just enter asbestos on the claim form. It has to be a condition related to your exposure to asbestos, so like asbestosis or unfortunately lung cancer. And you can also check on va.gov for a list of different conditions that applies. Gulf War and post 9/11 veterans. So it depends on when and where you served in Southwest Asia theaters of operations like Afghanistan, Israel, Turkey, Syria, or Jordan during the Persian Gulf War in Afghanistan, Djibouti, Egypt, Jordan, Lebanon, Syria, Uzbekistan, Yemen, or Somalia. Contaminated drinking water. If you served at Camp Lejeune or MCAS New River between August 1953 and December 1987, you may be at risk for certain illnesses believed to be caused by contaminants found in the drinking water during that time. So you have to have the conditions specifically stated on va.gov. A lot of veterans, they have so many different conditions not related to the presumptive conditions, but I will go into that a little bit further later in the presentation. So please visit www.publichealth.va.gov/exposures for other possible exposures and list of conditions related to those exposures. Please, next slide. Also continue on with the exposures. There's a Gulf War illness in Afghanistan, so that covers everything from migraines to stomach issues to chronic fatigue syndrome. The VA, again, my favorite website, www.va.gov, has even more information about what conditions you can apply for under the Gulf War illness. Also, Project 112 are additional toxic exposures amongst many veterans where they can seek service connection for. I also wanted to add PFAS. It is a long name that I do not want to butcher in front of many long people, but you guys see it. I do not want to mess that up. So exposure, a lot of veterans have had questions about this. This is not a presumptive of service toxic exposure, but it is a toxic exposure. So there isn't a list of conditions under this, but you can also make sure you do a registry with your local environmental health coordinator, and I will go into that in a second. Next slide, please. So I love to tell veterans about the environmental health registry. It doesn't really have a lot of bearing on whether or not you're going to be service connected or not, but it's a great way to ensure that your service is documented. So you can document like, I was here and I have this as a result, and you have to have like the doctor's appointments to also back that up. So you can go ahead and do this registry exam by contacting your local VA environmental health coordinator. They're located at most VA medical centers, not the clinics, but the larger VA medical centers of your state. But you can also email them. You can also call them. They can find a way for you to ensure that you have that exam. So it's very helpful. And it is used as evidence. Just want to make sure you know that, because a lot of us, they're like, I never went to the doctor. I never thought to do that. But if you do this registry, that might be, it'll not just help you, it'll help a lot of veterans. So it may trigger Congress to add different presumptives to the PACT Act list. Next slide, please. So I just wanted to give a little bit of information about the time frames and again, the different exposure list. So you can go ahead and take a few seconds to review that if you want. All right, so next slide. Appeals modernization. So a lot of veterans are not happy with what they received for their original claim. So you have the option to fight it. That's how rules are changed, and that's how you are acknowledged for your service. So there are 3 different lanes that we use. The first one is higher level review. So the higher level review is where an entirely new review of the claim by an experienced adjudicator. So you have the option to speak with a rater about your condition. You cannot add any new evidence, but you do have the option to have like an informal conference. That's what we call it. The next one is a supplemental claim, and which is an opportunity to submit additional evidence. So you can submit new and relevant evidence for the supplemental claim. You have to, or they will deny it. So what counts as new and relevant evidence? So say that in your initial claim, you are not able to attend your exam. You can file a supplemental claim and write in the under claim conditions, no exam, and that is your new and relevant evidence because you didn't have an exam for the previous claim. The next one is a Board of Veterans Appeals. So they have 3 different types of lanes within the Board of Veterans Appeals. So with the Board of Veterans Appeals, you can choose a hearing, a direct review, or an evidence review. So the direct review is where yourself or your veteran service officer will be asked to just summarize your service-connected condition. The evidence lane is obvious. You can submit evidence, but you will not have a hearing with the veterans law judge. Or if the hearing review, you can go ahead and have a hearing with the veterans law judge, which is pretty self-explanatory, of course. All right, and next slide, please. VBA coordinators. So the Veterans Benefits Administration Regional Office also utilize coordinators. Their role includes providing outreach to veterans and their families to expand their scope of benefits, this scope of benefits available to them. Some coordinators include military sexual trauma, women's veterans, homeless veterans, former prisoners of war, and indigent veterans. That you can see on your screen currently. Please visit www.va.gov to see where your coordinator is available. So they are available at your regional office and at your local VA healthcare medical center. Next slide, please. And here's some more. Here are some more coordinators. So right now we're working diligently with former prisoners of war. So we want to make sure that we are providing outreach to as many people as possible so they can get the benefits that they deserve. Next slide, please. Which forms to use? So you can use the 21-526 easy to file a new claim, original claim, increased claim, and secondary claim. You can also use a 20 for claims that were denied. You can use the 20-0995 supplemental claim. Again, you need new and relevant evidence. For the higher level review, you use the VA form 20-0996. And for the Board of Veterans Appeals, you can use the VA form 10182. All right. So, and this is what everybody wants to know. How long does this process take? The length of time of a decision is dependent on the workload of the regional office handling your claim, what your claim entails, whether the claim is fully developed. So again, you want to make sure when you file your claim that you submit all evidence that you possibly can to make sure that it moves as quickly and smoothly as possible. A fully developed claim, again, means that you've submitted all evidence additional and or required at the time of that you submitted your application. For example, if you submit an application and you do not submit all evidence, there will definitely be a delay because the VA, sometimes they'll call you, but a lot of times they'll send you snail mail requesting additional evidence. So you want to make sure you have everything available at the time of the claim. So when you are have a thought in your head like, hey, maybe I'm ready to file a claim, call the 1-800 number, or log on to www.va.gov and please promptly do a intent to file. So the intent to file is basically a placeholder. So today is January 28th, and you say you want to file a claim and you don't have everything ready yet. You can do the intent to file, and if you have a year from today's date to submit your claim. So say 6 months from now you have all your evidence and you're ready to submit your claim. The VA makes a decision 4 months later. I know I'm being very nice here. And your effective date will be January 28th, but make sure you submit your claim within the year or your intent to file will expire. Next slide. So here is some resources. www.va.gov, my favorite. And there is also the 1-800-827-1000 number, but also VA 411 that will direct you to many different departments. So that's 800-698-2411 or 411. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. And of course, we have the SGLI, Home Loan Guarantee, Healthcare Eligibility Line. So you can file for your healthcare right over the phone and online as well. You can also you have access to the Veterans Crisis Line as well. All right, next slide, please. And of course, we mentioned this multiple times, www.va.gov. Where you can obtain your verification letters. However, if you are 100% permanent in total, there are some letters that are not available on va.gov. That is the commissary letter. So if you want to go ahead and apply for the 100% disabled veterans card, you'll need that commissary letter. And you'll also need your summary and benefits letter. That letter is available on va.gov, but you can call the 1-800 number and they can send you that commissary letter by encrypted email. Next slide, please. And a lot of veterans use the VA mobile application. I don't really use it. I used it for a little bit, but I am old-fashioned. I just use www.va.gov right on my phone. I file claims right on my phone. I've applied for so many different benefits. I'm using the website, but you can also use the VA app. I think most of the younger veterans use the VA app, but maybe that's just me. I talk to so many people. And the next slide.
Well, I think it's good to know that the just going to the VA website is as efficient as using the app. That's a good thing to know.
Oh yes, it is. It is so easy to use right on your phone as well. And also, visitors engagement reporting application. I've been on bed rest for the last 7 months, and I've manned our Baltimore regional office via appointment line, and you can make an appointment online for a virtual appointment. You can also make an appointment for an in-person appointment. Most in-person appointments, you can only do that online. So if you want to come in as a walk-in, we usually we'll help you out with letters or like quick questions, but we do have a schedule that we have to adhere to. So you can definitely make an appointment to come to the regional office or speak with a representative like myself for 30 minutes of your day and ask as many questions as you need. Next question, slide, please. Sorry. Again, here's some more information about the numbers we went over. This one also includes the National Cemetery Administration. And next slide. All right. So thank you so much for your service and thank you for joining me today. And I hope you found this information presented helpful and you will be able to apply what you have learned successfully when filing your claims. Any questions?
I haven't seen any in the comments yet. I put a couple of the links to try and be helpful to people. But please, if you're watching and you have a question, please put it into the comment section. And if you're watching this and it's not live, I will go back periodically and check the comments and for questions and make sure that they get forwarded to Sommer. So We're open to questions. We'll be open to questions for a few more minutes. This has been really informative to me, Summer. And so, if somebody filed their did their 1 year thing, filed an intent and then never got back to it, it expires after the 1 year point, and then they have to file again. Correct?
Yes, they'll have to either do another intent to file or they'll have to file their claim. That literally happened yesterday. A young lady, she called and her intent to file date was January 17th, 2024, but she didn't apply for a claim until January 22nd. So she missed the date. So
you have to pay attention to the calendar. Jeremy, if you're Jeremy Villardo asked where are the links. He doesn't see them. If you look upwards in the comments on LinkedIn, you should see them. If they don't show up immediately for you, you might need to scan through the recording and see them show up at the various times. But on almost every slide, Summer had a link that you can look at and copy down to use. But thank you for asking that question. Great question. Always important to know where the links are.
Oh, yes. Or just www.va.gov. It's so resourceful. We have benefits.va.gov that goes into more, elaborates on the benefits and how we come up with our decisions as well. So you get a little insider using benefits.va.gov.
So a question, because I know there are a lot of older veterans that haven't ever filed a claim.
Oh, yeah.
And so if they aren't able to do that themselves, then can a family member file for them?
Yes, they can definitely help, but they have to, if they can't sign the document, they have to mark it with an X, and there has to be 2 witnesses present. There is a signature just for that, to make sure that there's a witness signature as well.
Awesome.
And they also can do, I would advise all older veterans that I help out, make sure that they fill out a 21-0845, which gives their family members the authorization to speak on their behalf, especially when they're calling the call center or they show up in person for the at the regional office. So that definitely helps.
Oh, that's good. So they can ask for somebody to speak on their behalf.
Yes,
that's they
perfect.
Can. That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Summer, for being here, and Rashima for being available in the comments. We didn't have anything there today, but I definitely appreciate the two of you being here for us today. Oh, let's see. Benny, there's one question here. It says, hello, do you help veterans with submitting claims? If so, do you help veterans in every state? So, Summer, if somebody doesn't, you're in Baltimore. So Benny, I'm going to put the question up so you can see it. Do you help veterans in every state? So if somebody lived in Kansas, what do they do if they want to file a claim?
So they can definitely file the claim. They can use the VERA, the Visitors Engagement Reporting Application, to go ahead and receive help at the regional office in person or virtually. They can also, again, utilize the services of a veteran service organization. I can't help, I can't do it personally, but I wish I could. I do help many veterans though, using through VERA.
Okay, well, I am getting the link to the VERA now, and I'm going to put this into the chat where people can go to schedule an appointment. And so if they go to this link, then they'll be able to schedule an appointment that's for their local area, right?
Yes, they can
put in their location, and then it will pop up and give them the locations near them.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So Betty, that's your answer. Go to the VERA. It's the I just put the link in there. Go to that website, and it'll give you the information for where you live to file your claim. That's a great question. Thank you for asking it.
VERA is amazing.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being here, and thank you everybody for being on today. Look forward to seeing you a month from now on the 4th Tuesday in February. We will meet here again February 25th, and we'll have a representative from GE Aerospace to talk about veteran hiring. So Thank you, Summer. Thank you, Rashima. And thank you, everybody who's been on with us and will watch the recording. Have a great day, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you for your service.